What's up with it, everybody? Welcome to Jump Punch Shoot. I'm your host, Erik Jimenez, with my little brother, Jose Jimenez.
Blah, blah.
Blah, 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 blah. And this is my character wish list. Wish list, not predictions list. This is my character wish list for Injustice 2 Gods Among Us. I don't know if that's what they're calling it, but
you got some bangers in there, dude.
I got some bangers. This is very much a wish list like yours. You know, this is, a lot of these are probably not going to happen, but this is what I want. And I'm breaking it up into three parts. So first on my list, Beast Boy. He was on my regular list. He was on my regular roster list, and he didn't make it. So he for sure has to make it into the DLC. I would hope, right?
He was teased, man. Like the way that they revealed Harley Quinn with that shadow. You could tell that it was Harley Quinn, but man, it was just a terrible thing to see that he didn't make it onto the main roster.
Yeah, and I talked about it in a prior video that I took down because of copyright reasons. But he could play, like his trait could be to change to like different animals. So like, he could change into like a big, strong, like gorilla type animal, and do like more damage. Change into like a more agile animal, and whatever, right? I mean, I'm sure NetherRealm could fucking kill it, but Beast Boy is like it's an obvious one, right? He's got to be in the game. For my next character, he was also in my other list. And that's Clayface. I mean, you can just kind of do anything with characters like Clayface, Green Lantern, and all these kind of like imagination-based powers,
Exactly.
So Clayface, I feel like would make a good, like, you could just do whatever you want with him. I don't really have anything like on like what his trait could be. I don't know. Maybe he could like harden and like just take less damage. I have no idea. But Clayface, I just feel like is a character you can just do whatever you want with, right? Now for my first guest character, this one's a little weird, but I have the Power Rangers, not a Power Ranger, the Power Rangers. I want to have and if anyone's crazy enough to do it, it's NetherRealm. so you have the Power Rangers, and then like with Premier skins or with like like you have to just like adjust how they like.
The morpher, like switch out the morpher coin and you get a whole new color.
And then you have a whole new color. You have a maybe the moves aren't too different because I mean that would be a lot of work for one character.
Yeah.
But they did it with Triborg. And I feel like if anyone's crazy enough to do it, it's NetherRealm, and they could pull off something like that. Right now, the Power Rangers hype is as high as it's gonna get.
That's exactly right, and that's why I think that it's like not too ridiculous to think that they can make it into the game.
Also, I mean, right now there's a Justice League, or I think it's a Justice League versus Power Rangers, or there's like a crossover comic. So I mean, it just makes sense. It makes sense for the Power Rangers, or if not a Power Ranger, give me the Green Ranger. If you're gonna give me a Ranger, give me the Green Ranger. But
if you had to pick three,
okay. Well, you got to pick a girl. You got to pick the Pink Ranger. You got to pick the Green Ranger. Oh, fuck. That's hard. I would
just
say
like they did Triborg.
So, I mean, they did forward Triborg. They did Cyber Sub-Zero. So
right.
You could do them all. I mean, if anyone can do it, it's NetherRealm, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's enough for Power Rangers. But for my next character, I have Constantine. A lot of these characters were on my main list. Constantine, like I don't know much about him, but what I saw in Justice League Dark, which is a good movie, you should see it. And like I was telling you before, he has a lot of like relics, and like he's just kind of like a mystic guy. He I don't think he's like supernatural, but he like knows a lot of spells and stuff. So like he could do a lot of like, I know we have
Dr.
Fate, but I mean I do think that like that Constantine could play a little different. Like, he has all these like kind of like relics that he steals or gains or whatever he does, and they all have different powers. So it could be like the staff of whatever the hell, and then that gives him like a fire kind of like burst or something. Whatever,
That's more than enough reasons why he can make a great character in the game.
And then plus he's been teased so much, so I'm surprised that he didn't make it to the main roster. But maybe like they just couldn't work him into the story. I mean, how do you work that guy into Brainiac's story, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I think DLC, he's kind of like, it's almost a sure thing. He was hinted too much to not be in the game, right? So for my next character, I have Katana from the Suicide Squad. So I don't know if she's normally just a Suicide Squad character, but I really like her. I really love her. Like how she looks, like she has that little mask.
Yeah, like the kabuki mask.
Yeah, and her sword, and another sword character. I know you had a couple sword characters. We already have some sword characters in the game, but I like the concept of her sword. I think it's like
it like steals the sword. It steals the soul of like all of its victims.
Yes. So like I think her husband is in the sword. At least it was in the movie. Spoilers.
Yeah. Spoilers.
But so I do like the concept of like a supernatural sword, and you can never have enough sword characters. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to fight as Damian Wayne with his sword against somebody who doesn't have a sword. I kind of want some sword clashes,
Yeah.
So I think Katana, I really want her to be in the game, and we need more female characters. So that's that. All right, this one, my next guest character. I was looking at a list of like the DC crossover comics, and this is the one I like the best. They have a bunch. They have a lot of Predator, Alien. They have a bunch, a bunch of Avenger stuff. But this one I like the best, and this kind of goes back to the Power Rangers thing, the Ninja Turtles. So Ninja Turtles.
That's crazy. Yeah, like it's crazy how perfect these ideas come together, like just talking about them, because just their gear system, it makes this all work.
Yeah, like just the way they're doing gear, they're doing Premiere Skin shaders and stuff like that. It wouldn't be too hard to make it work, right? Like I said, NetherRealm already proved they can make like 3 characters in one. Ninja Turtles wouldn't be too hard for them. The martial art character, it makes sense. Or to me it does. For my next character, this is more than anybody, if the Power Rangers are in this game, because I called, and I have proof that I called Triborg. Back when I was starting this little YouTube thing, and I was just testing out the mic, I predicted Triborg before it happened, like a full year before it happened. But more than anyone I want in the game is Etrigan. I know this is such a long shot. I know that he's not like a well-known character, but that's why I kind of wanted him to be in the game, because they were talking about like, well, we already brought these known characters in the last game. We're trying to bring in these like lesser known characters in this one. And Etrigan, I want just so bad. Like in Justice League Dark, he was the one.
Really?
He was the one. Like I told you, he has like this sword that he like summons out of fire, and it's this big like bulky ass sword that he like holds like a fucking like like he's holding it like nothing, but it's this huge sword, and I just think that would make for like really cool. He would work perfectly, right? He's like this demon. His like intro could just be like because he's a demon and like this old knight that's like cursed with like he's cursed with Etrigan in him. Okay. And if he like he has to like say like this like spell or whatever, and he calls out Etrigan, and I don't know, Etrigan
sounds badass.
Etrigan is definitely my favorite character, or the one who I want the most. So if Ed Boon, you can make that happen, that would be awesome. For my next character, again, I'm surprised he didn't make it in the main roster, just because he was in the past mobile games, and it's a character that I've heard people in forums and comments and Twitter and whatever, they've been asking for this character a lot, and that's Static Shock. Static Shock. We besides Black Adam, we don't really have like a electricity based power character. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I don't know, I like Static Shock's whole thing, like he's like on that like surfboard or whatever. I didn't get into like the cartoons as much when I was a kid, just because I didn't even know that was DC until I saw him in that Justice League episode where they go to the future. I mean,
from what I understand of him, he's just like a cool superhero, right? Like he's got like style and like he's like still a kid. I'd like to see the kid version.
You'd like to see the kid and not the adult version,
or at least the teenage version, because even with Damian, I think he's like too old.
You think? You okay, know? You would. Yeah,
I think that guy's too old. But like I just chalked it down to sizing reasons why you can't have like a smaller person. But I'd like to see the as team. Young as he can possibly be.
Yeah, and I think and that could work
because I don't want to see him with dreads and like in him being old, you know.
Well, he has dreads as a kid, doesn't he?
Well, he has dreads, but I don't want to see like the gray dreads.
Okay, you don't want to see the older Static Shock.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you.
I just think he's cooler as a kid.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking of them making the old character, but yeah, Static Shock, he's a must. So my last guest character, which is the most kind of the most far-fetched one, I think, because but it's up there with like one of the top ones that I want. This is probably never gonna happen, but this is my wish list. Is Spider-Man. And the reason I even mentioned Spider-Man, I've known that there's been DC versus Avengers or all these like crossover comics. I know that, and I know that like, you know, you can't like Marvel right now is doing their thing, and I don't know how easy it would be to get a Marvel character, and I don't really want an Avenger. But I saw that they had a Batman and Spider-Man crossover, and Spider-Man in any fighting game would be good, especially a fighting game that NetherRealm makes. Spider-Man in the game would just make the most sense, because like you've said this before, DC kind of like runs out of like interesting heroes after a while. Like, you know, after you get past the Justice League, you kind of like you're really like digging for
you really are. I mean, Spider-Man's one of my favorite Marvel characters.
Oh yeah, I mean 100%. And then just
only one that could like even come close to him to me is like Wolverine.
Okay, yeah.
But with Spider-Man, it'd be so awesome to see him come in badass, like just like web slinging all over the place.
Oh yeah.
And then just the costumes would be the coolest thing, like to have like a Venom suit.
Oh,
a Venom suit,
hell yeah, dude.
That'd be the coolest thing.
I wasn't even thinking that far ahead, and I don't want to get too excited because, like I said, this is such a far-fetched idea. Like, this is probably never gonna happen in a million years. But I really want to see Ed Boon and the team at NetherRealm take a crack at Spider-Man.
Show Marvel how it's done.
Show them how it's fucking done, because it ain't gonna be done with fucking a Marvel vs. Capcom. I tell you what. But anyway, enough of that. That was my list. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and tune in for more Injustice videos coming soon.